may look like I'm playing some soccer. Well, I mean, I am, but I'm also applying physics to this.
And you can also set up age-appropriate content for kids younger than 13. And TikTok says challenges like "I hit a devious lick" go against guidelines and have been removed.
Many residents I spoke with say they're upset there's no longer a welcome center here on Greenwood, and it used to be here right at the corner of Greenwood and Archer, right across from the Greenwood Rising Museum. And now, yes, it's occupied, but it is the Black Wall Street t-shirt and souvenir shop. The Tulsa Little League that took over these fields, and also the city, tell me that hundreds of teams have signed up to practice, and well, it's just me here at Savage Park. The lawsuit claims that these issues of unsafe and unsanitary living conditions, as well as lack of maintenance, are not new issues, that these issues have been going on for years. Lawyers tell me that the way the complex treated residents is illegal. In the video, you can see Lulu, where she was hit here by the debris, starts scooting her way to her front yard with her two front paws, and this is where her homeowners found her. We can walk and talk to the next room. I spoke with Phil Armstrong with the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Centennial Commission, who kind of oversaw this whole project and was very hands-on the last 6 years to make this happen. You can see behind me, the scene has wrapped up. It just wrapped up moments ago. There's still a few cop cars lingering around, and basically all the family and friends have left as well, but not before I could speak with the grandfather of the victim. Let me show you some of the velocity and angles they were talking about. So if I want it, for instance, now it's been a very long time since I played. I remember though, if I'm trying to get it across the field, you want to hit it as low as possible, kind of like a pop-up. The lower you hit it, the higher it'll go and pop up. But for instance, if I just want to pass it to my photographer, I'm going to try to hit it right in the middle of the ball, nice and smooth, right there, and make sure you angle your foot. It's all about the angles. Just like for your selfies for Instagram, it's all about the angles.
Some students here at Charles Page High School are passing out more than paper and pencils. They're passing out these cards that read, "White privilege card trumps everything. Member since birth, good through death. Card holder, scot-free." Student Fabian Gaden says he received one on Tuesday.
Yeah, I got one of those white privilege cards, and the guy called me a beaner.
Just last week, a student made this Snapchat of an African-American student saying there's a cash reward if caught, calling him a slave. Shauna Davis and other students say they're fed up, which is why dozens of students protested the racial issues Wednesday morning.
It makes me feel horrible. They shouldn't have to go through that. It doesn't matter what your race is, what your gender is, or what your sexuality is.
Sand Springs School District Superintendent Sherry Durkee says these actions are not tolerated nor condoned.
This district, our values are pretty high, and we would never put out a card. We dealt with a student. We were able to investigate. It's being handled now.
Charles Page parent Jessica Hernandez says racial issues have been going on for years in Sand Springs. She says parents and faculty need to do better.
I send my kids here because I believe they're safe, because it's a good thing for them to have an education. But this right here makes you not want to send your kids to school at all. You can't know that they're safe. Bullying is what kills most children. They commit suicide.
Durkee says students' opinions matter, and she's listening to everyone's concerns.
We know that we serve a population pretty high in poverty, for sure, and then diverse culturally as well. And so it's really important to listen to kids and understand what they're thinking.
Today during the protest, I was given this flyer. It says there is another protest happening next Wednesday at the high school here and at Clyde Boyd Middle School. Shay and Sarah, a very sad and somber day. Many of us at Fox 23 had the privilege of talking and interviewing and even being friends with Sherry Gamble Smith over the years. And especially, we recently talked to her during the Juneteenth events last week. And so this is just a very surreal and shocking moment for many of us in the community. And her friends that I spoke with say that they're heartbroken and they need to continue her legacy. Friends throughout North Tulsa and Greenwood say they're heartbroken, crushed, and in pieces after finding out Sherry Gamble Smith was found dead in her Bixby home Wednesday morning just after 8. Bixby Police Department investigators say they arrived at her home off 96th and Mingo, but she had already passed. Her husband, Martin Smith, had critical injuries but later died at the hospital. Sherry was the president of the Black Wall Street Chamber of Commerce. I spoke with Phil Armstrong, director of the Greenwood Rising Museum, who's known Sherry for 25 years. He says she used to babysit his sons. He met her through ministry, then watched her do work on Greenwood for decades. Armstrong says she was a tremendous positive force for North Tulsa.
This is an amazing, shocking loss for the city of Tulsa, for North Tulsa, for the Greenwood community. It'll be a while before we get past this one.
Sherry helped put together Tulsa's Juneteenth events every year, even last month's events that attracted more than 30,000 people to the historic Greenwood. Pastor Jamal Dyer with Friendship Church says he's been friends with Sherry the past 15 years. He says together they helped create the Greenwood Chamber of Young Professionals. He says we have to continue her legacy through the same love she shared with the community.
It's going to take those individuals who worked diligently with her, which were her children, her siblings, her family member, other community members that were as passionate about the community as she was, to pull together and to continue her legacy and to take those tools and those deposits that she made into our lives and now make them come to fruition so we can continue the work that she has so diligently laid before.
Bixby Police and OSBI are investigating what happened and what led up to these events. Bixby Police say they are not looking for a suspect. Live in Bixby, covering news that matters, I'm Tanya Modersitzki, Fox 23 News.
We're all guilty of it, multiple times a day at that, pulling our phones out and starting to scroll on social media. Psychiatrists I spoke with tell me teenagers are becoming addicted to social media. Dr. Martin Paulus with Laureate Clinic tells me they're studying the teenage brain and the effects social media has on it. He shares some scary comparisons.
Social reward, which is essentially what social media capitalize on, is activating the same brain systems that drugs like cocaine or amphetamine activate.
In fact, he says a child's brain on social media is the same as someone addicted to drugs. The addictive process gives a jolt to the brain. With any addiction, the brain releases dopamine. That happens when someone experiences pleasure and creates an award system for things like drugs, food, or in the case of social media,
the number of likes or the number of followers or the number of comments that you're getting for a particular post. That is essentially the social currency people strive for.
But that social media currency can come with a cost with some of these social media challenges, like fines from school or court fees. This list released by local school districts shows different TikTok challenges happening each month. The one for November, kiss your friend's girlfriend at school. Some of these challenges worry parents like Lacey Lee.
I know that there are children out there who are possibly facing charges from some of the challenges that they did, and that could be like very scary as a parent.
In September, I told you about the I Hit a Devious Lick challenge that showed students destroying school bathrooms. They knocked down soap dispensers, kicked urinals off the wall, and stole technology from teachers.
It's theft, and it is vandalism and damaging of property.
Jinx Middle School assistant principal Megan Jackson told me she saw it happening across the district and handed out hefty consequences,
including in-school suspension or possibly out-of-school suspension and restitution.
Dr. Paula says some kids are so addicted to social media, they just think of it as a game. They don't consider the potential consequences.
The line between what you're experiencing in the real world when you say you transgress and you're doing something that is clearly wrong, and what you're doing for a game within a social media platform online become blurry and it becomes unclear.
Dr. Paulus says researchers are still studying the teenage brain to learn the long-term effects from social media addiction. He says addiction to social media may lead to more addictions.
If the brain is susceptible to one addiction, it tends to also be susceptible to another addiction.
I got in touch with TikTok's communication team and they told me kids' screen time should be limited. They have features that remind younger users to get off the app and do other activities, and parents can set up age-appropriate privacy settings and controls. You can link your teen's account to yours so you can monitor them. And you can also set up age-appropriate content for kids younger than 13. And TikTok says challenges like I Hit a Devious Lick go against guidelines and have been removed.